Hello, welcome to AlientVault OSSIM installation presented by EC Council. In this course, we'll go over an AlientVault OSSIM appliance for what I've seen to be a typical small business network consisting of a hypervisor server, small business grade switch, and small business grade firewall. Although I know VMware is a popular solution, I thought I'd give some attention to Hyper-V as all supported versions of Windows Server can use it. I've seen most small businesses use one or two Windows servers for their Active Directory and file server needs. These servers, if enough free resources exist, can be converted to a Type 1 hypervisor, although I recommend running domain and file services as VMs, not on the hypervisor. I won't specifically go over the initial setup of Hyper-V, but plenty of resources are available online. First, we'll go over preparation of the switches, Hyper-V server, and configuring the virtual machine in preparation to install OSSIM, which will be covered in Section 2. In Section 3, we will cover configuration of sources, which will feed OSSIM the information it needs to be useful, such as logs from networking equipment and workstations. In Section 4, we'll cover configuring vulnerability and asset scanning, scanning on schedules, and reviewing results for taking action. Section 5 will cover alarms, tickets, backups, monitoring availability, running reports, and updating your OSSIM appliance. In the sixth section, we'll cover threat intelligence policies, actions, and configuration of email alerting. Finally, in the last section, we'll go over Linux technique to move the /var folder, which contains your logs and database. We'll cover some of the differences between the free OSSIM product and the paid version, and then go over where to go for other resources on managing and maintaining your OSSIM appliance. As for prerequisites to this course, virtualization knowledge will be extremely helpful. If you're more comfortable with another hypervisor, I will be using terms that should be transferable. If you have a dedicated machine for your OSSIM appliance, great, but it's not required. Next, intermediate knowledge of networking will be needed. It is recommended to have a management network separate from your main data network, but I'll be setting this up on a mostly flat network with a VLAN for guest Wi-Fi. Finally, it's best if you have Windows Server and Linux administration experience. We'll be using mostly PowerShell, but Bash knowledge will be helpful for the final section. AD knowledge will also be helpful for enabling audit settings company-wide. Our primary goals for this course are to 1. Get a basic AlientVault OSSIM installation running, 2. Configure it to alert you when it detects something, and 3. Introduce you to some helpful resources for further increasing your security stature. Although my goal is to show how to make a small business production-ready OSSIM setup, I do recommend you run this in a home lab first to get a good feel for the suite. Also, it can be difficult to roll back changes when a mistake is made, so I recommend taking frequent snapshots or checkpoints from your hypervisor. This is pretty easy with Hyper-V, and it doesn't take up too much space. I will point out when there are some good times to do so. And finally, because no two businesses are identical, I recommend writing your own guide for future reference. Setting up OSSIM can be extremely time-consuming, so take lots of notes when you're doing it for real. Again, there's a lot going on with an OSSIM deployment, so I hope my course will make things a little less painful. Here we go.